All right, everybody. Good evening and welcome to the imho.live show. I'm Lou Angelwolf. My co-host right next to me, Michael Murburg.
Hey, Lou. Good to be here.
Good to see you, man. And it is the first week of April. Today is April 3rd of 2019. I do believe this is the fastest flying year on record. Go dog go. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching in on Facebook, however you're tuning into the show. We're on Facebook Live on Lou Angelwolf. My homepage, and of course, it'll be redistributed from there. And of course, the mothership is imho.love. You can also watch the tune in on tantalk1340.com on the YouTube download. So we have that. And the show will also show up later on BitChute. And it'll also be on Podomatic. There's a lot of ways to watch this show, and we thank you very much for sharing the time and taking the time to watch and listen to the show. So anyway, here we are, folks. IMHO is, in my humble opinion, .love, and because love's what it's all about. Love is the thing that wins in the end, and we are thoroughly convinced of that. We cover a lot of stuff on this show. We have some humorous stuff, some aha moments, some things you may not know that are considered fact. And of course, our focus and the thing that we find is becoming more and more important in our message, in our conversations that we have over the airwaves all over the world. And that's CE5, which is Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind. And we're actually going to start phasing the phraseology a different way. And we're going to HICE, as of getting away from CE5, because it truly isn't CE5, what we do by true CE5 definition. It's close. But the thing that we're going to do is HICE, which is Human-Initiated Close Encounters. And there's a couple other things for CE as well.
Yeah, contact experiences. Yeah, they're almost interchangeable.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I just got a note from JJ, and she can call in at 727-441-3000, but she'll be ready for our call. So if we want to give her a test call now, I think we can do it.
Yeah, we have a special guest tonight on the show, and that's JJ Buckner. Who is a friend of yours, Michael?
Well, she's a Facebook friend, and I didn't get a chance to talk to her at Megacon, but she's like our gal on the street for the Megacon conference. I mean, she was posting about everybody. I believe she saw everybody there, and if there's anybody that can give an all around great report on what was moving and shaking, I think she can. So that's why I asked her to be on the show tonight. She's
beautiful.
Highly literate, very intelligent, and very observant. So.
We love the highly literate.
Yes.
And we love the highly intelligent.
Yeah. But something, we each have our own genius. So don't worry about playing around it. Sometimes you got to.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, hi, Pamela watching, and Kelly. And Kelly, I'm trying to, honey. I was in the truck all day long. This is the way I walk when I drive the truck all day long. She says, stop walking like an old man. No, I have an artificial hip and half a knee. What's your excuse? Nah. Anyway, Mark Baker, my longtime friend, and thanks everybody else who's listening in on various avenues. So do you want to go ahead and call JJ now?
Yeah, she might be ready.
I think she's expecting us at 7:45.
7:50. Yeah, 7:45.
7:45. Right. So we'll just go ahead and we'll just fill everybody and let in case you didn't catch last week's show. Michael and I attended the UFO Megacon conference in Laughlin, Nevada, which we affectionately wound up calling it Kmart Las Vegas, and
where people are dying to play the slot machines.
Yeah, we had an experience there, and the conference was awesome. Other than the fact that it's attached to a casino, it was such a dichotomy. Upstairs, there's enlightenment and intelligence and furtherment of your life. And downstairs, the ding, 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 twink, 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 wee, wee, wee. I mean, just 24 hours a day, and the cigarette smoke and all this stuff. And it was like, I think you actually could have got caught in a vacuum in the elevator.
Yeah, well, it would be a comparison of watching Jesus talk in hell.
There you go. Up on the balcony. Yeah, can I get a water? Anyway, well, ladies and gentlemen, that's what Michael and I did last weekend. Yeah, beginning of last week.
Yeah,
we were weekend before. This week has been these
blur.
Last 2 weeks have been a real blur.
What it was is you have your mind open so wide for 3 days.
Yeah,
and then I had to go through 3 or 4 days of reconnecting again with my environment.
And then you had to come back here to the alien ant farm and get back in line.
Yep.
And I think that's what's going on.
Yep.
So, well, ladies and gentlemen, the UFO Megacon is a huge conference that is happening every year now. I guess it was away for a few years, but I guess this is kind of the big one. And I think other bookers had it for a while and took it a different direction. But now, from what we understand, this is the kind of the organic intent.
Yeah, and they have to be developing this way too, because everybody's on the edge of their, not everybody, but so many people are on the edge of their seat. Disclosure this, disclosure now, disclosure when, disclosure. And you have that whole UFO bunch that have gotten us, have opened all these doors. But then you got the rest of us who are speaking, a lot of us, about consciousness-based contact.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the new frontier. So, I'm not waiting. I'm not holding my breath to tell me they have the government tell me that ET and NHIBs are real. I already know they are.
Well, and yes, we know they are. And here's the thing: as I had a friend of mine go, "You really did that? You really spent money to do that? Really? That's what you did? You did that? Like, it was like the most ridiculous thing he'd ever heard of." And that's fine. Be who you are. Stay asleep. I don't care. It's but in this life, okay, there are too many unanswered questions. There's too many incredible, phenomenal things that happen all around us every day, and there's just way too many people. And this thing is so fragmented and multifaceted. This experience here on Earth. And for us to think that we're the only game, that we're the only people that are experiencing this is pretty ridiculous, because, we experience too many wrinkles in time naturally for us not to look elsewhere or look up or sideways or whatever.
Yeah. And also kind of buzz on the airwaves this week was, Tom DeLonge's statement, if UFO show, we'll just swat them like flies, which is, Jesus Christ, these people are not getting it.
Right.
Swatting an entity like a fly, number one, is a violent act towards nobody that did you any harm.
Right.
And number two is they'll fry you. Come on. They got 3 billion years on us. Right. Come on, really?
Yeah, the last thing, if I saw an ET or an ET craft, which we do, but if they ever got really close, and I think swatting them would be the last thing on my mind. I'd say, hey, let's do this peacefully.
Yeah.
Would you like a cup of coffee?
Well, and they're only here to help. This whole draconian, dark and light. It's from what I've gotten so far, from the DeLonge stuff, it's like, well, they're really not evil, but they don't really like us either. It's like 90% of the people walking to McDonald's. Okay, I'm good with that.
Yeah, I'm used to that.
The other guys, well, they're here to help. I was like, okay, good.
And that's really something too, Michael. And we'll just touch on this a little bit. You and I are both, we're, larger statured men, over 6 foot, and we've had a couple of meals.
We displace a lot of water.
Yeah, the cannonball kid. But anyway, but I'm a relatively gregarious person, and I like to make, people feel comfortable around me, and I greet strangers and I say hello and I make small talk with people. Like today, for those of you who know me, know that I sell windows and doors for Armor Tech, and that's my hurricane window preparedness stuff. And I sold a hurricane door to a 102-year-old man today. He was 102, born in 1917. Okay.
Wow.
And
I made my dad 112.
yeah,
That's old.
Yeah, and I didn't even describe the lifetime warranty that the door came with, just because it would be moot point. And I told him that. I said,
don't save your receipt.
And his name was Wilmer.
Wilmer.
That just to show you, there's nobody been named Wilmer in about 100 years.
Yeah, that was a popular name in 1917.
Oh, Wilmer.
I don't know.
And a really nice man. And of course, when you're 102, I guess it's kind of hard to be snotty.
God bless him, 102.
Yeah,
That's
and but his door needed to be fixed. So,
yeah.
But anyway, we got that, and that's, to me, that's what life is about. It's meeting people and having kind exchanges. I've been blessed with 5,000 or so Facebook friends. I don't know all of them personally, but you know what? One night I went through and I fanned through and I looked, and I have probably met 2,000 of my friends on Facebook face to face. And probably broken bread with 1,000 of them, So let's say hi to some friends. There's our buddy Janine Mari out there. She just took an adventure out to California with her 2 kids and a dog and a Toyota Corolla, and she made it. So she's good, and we love her a lot. And Greg Singleton, my old friend, and our buddy Brett Falicon, who we met this weekend up in the northern part of the state, up there at Perry. Brett owns Timberland Ford. So if you're looking for a new Ford.
Yeah, he's doing a nice job on your vehicles.
Yeah, he's putting our power wagon together. That's our doomsday prepper truck. So it's got an old style ignition system, so we can't be zapped by the satellites.
And it's a Dodge product, so you really are okay with those zombies coming to get you with the ignition. Okay. I'm sure as they're munching on you, you'll be going, I had to select the Dodge product.
Why?
I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Mopar.
And hi, Beverly. Hey, Michael DePonzio, what are you doing? And Debbie Liverance is here too. Thanks everybody for listening in and joining. Hi, Cindy Lee, and thanks everybody for tuning in to us. We really do cherish the fact that you share your time with us. That means a lot. So like I said, Michael and I did the UFO Megacon last week, and we're definitely going to do a week-long thing, and we'll keep you posted throughout the year. It's going to happen again next March, and we will try to put a larger group together to go next week. And Saturday night out there at the Darby Ranch, we have another CE5 or a HICE.
Time to make contact again. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and we may have like bring them a shiny apple this week. It's like, hey, we went out and talked about you. All right.
Well, it just keeps on getting more and more intense. So you'll have a quiet week or something, but I think we're building to more meaningful contact at this point, and more groups are out there growing. There are 3 more groups this week that kind of joined our radio show mailing list. So
yes, yeah, we're going to be expanding on that, and of course, one of the ladies in charge of that's our girl Kathy McGuire. Thanks for joining us in the studio, Kathy. We love you a lot, and you know that. So, well, ladies and gentlemen, hi, Beverly Haskins. We are going to go ahead and make our call out to JJ Buckner. JJ, I didn't want to say it wrong. Buckner. Yeah. JJ
Jocelyn. Yes.
Jocelyn Buckner. And she's going to give us her commentary out there on the show. So you go ahead and dial that up for us, Vaughn. Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to the imho.love show. We're broadcast every Wednesday night at 7:30 here on the Tan Talk Radio Network, which we can be found on the 1340, 1350, 1400 AM band. And we're also on 102.3, 104.7, and 106.1 on the FM band. And, of course, the website is tantalk1340.com. And we're just, if you want to listen to this show or watch this show, it's available to you.
Also at the YouTube, imho.love on YouTube, like it, subscribe, tell your friends.
Yes, and you can find a lot of my stuff also on my Angelwolf YouTube page. Thank you, Kathy, for downloading all that stuff over there too. You do a fantastic job. So, how we doing there, Vaughn? We got our caller, and welcome to the imho.love show. JJ, how are you?
I am great. How are you?
Well, if I was any better, I'd have to hire
A lawyer.
I'd have to hire poodles to throw confetti in front of me as I entered the room. But we're doing great, doing great. So you were out there at the Megacon, huh? Were you there the whole day, the whole time?
I was the staff photographer, so I was pretty much required to be there. And Melinda Leslie is a very good friend of mine, and so she wrote me into also going out with her for the night sky watch on 3 nights. So I just kept very busy, as like yourself.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, and I did meet you. I met you while John Lear was speaking. I was sitting in the front row, so that was an enthralling conversation.
It was, and I was kidding people saying, oh, they're going to empty the room to bring John Lear in. And I was totally taken back when they actually did empty the room to bring John Lear in. Yes. But I understand that he's barely ambulatory and he's got a lot of pride, and he didn't want to go in on, with his walker and sit there. So I understand that. And it certainly was nice to see him. And Carrie Cassidy, I thought, did an excellent job talking with him.
Yes. And just to clue our audience in, John Lear is the son of Learjet fame, just an incredibly knowledgeable guy about everything aeronautic, aerosonic, he just knows, and is an experiencer, a contactee, and has a plethora of information and has seen things that most human beings don't even know how to dream about.
Yes, he's also known as the grandfather of conspiracies because of all of the things that he talks about that most people just think are completely off the deep end, unimaginable. But he does reveal a lot of the deep state military secrets about UFOs and ETs. I have seen him on a couple of times. He was at other conferences that I was at, but this was a whole different ball of wax. I think Carrie was able to pull out some information. He was a former CIA pilot, but he was disinherited to the Learjet aviation empire.
Really?
So yeah, that is one of the things, because
that's a big franchise to lose.
Yeah.
Every family's got a black sheep.
Yeah, he kind of is. Yeah, I guess he would be. He shared with us some incredible information, and probably the biggest thing, for one, I love his 9/11 theories, which to me, as much as I started studying 9/11 on 9/12, and the thing that he, to me, has the most sensible, realistic point of view on the whole thing, and it's something that you can follow. He has all this stuff is logged on his website, and it's if you just look up John Lear conspiracies, or his website is something Moon, thelivingmoon.com.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I'm not in front of my computer, but I do know that he has quite a presence on the internet. And you can always go to Project Camelot, because Carrie Cassidy has been his friend for years and years. And I met him long time ago because Bill Cooper was a friend of my mom, and William Cooper, who everybody would know as the author of Behold the Pale Horse, and John Lear were really good friends back in the day.
Yes.
So
so that's the name. I was just gonna confirm that the name of John Lear's website is thelivingmoon.com. Thelivingmoon.com.
So,
okay.
So other than Lear, JJ, who else did you like? And you might, starting from the beginning of the Megacon to, let's go.
Well, I liked you. I thought, we got some flack for having people that weren't really, really well known, Mike, but I thought that you did an excellent job. And as I understand it, you haven't done a lot of conferences. Is that right?
No, that was, I'm flattered. That was my virgin voyage. I was the first speech. I started writing three months earlier, and that was my first presentation of what will eventually become a presentation for free in September about the historical relationship between consciousness and contact.
I thought you did an excellent job, and I totally got it. I was on the edge of my seat, and of course you were there right before lunch, and it was, that's a tough spot to be in because everybody's ready to take a break. But everybody stayed and listened, and like I said, there was a few people that said, well, who are these guys? And I always come back to, well, everybody's got a first time. And the thing about being at these UFO conferences, you never know who the person you're sitting next to really is until you start talking to them. And it seems like everybody's got a story. And you have one that was really good because of the conscious awareness that you got by being in contact. And I enjoyed listening to your spiritual journey and, the higher stage of consciousness that you were talking about. So I applaud you, and I hope that it is that you are in these conferences a lot more, because it is a message that everybody needs to hear about, not the scary, ETs are just there to do creepy experiments and eat us. Like I think John Lear even said one time that ETs will abduct humans and then eat them. I don't think so.
I'm sure not all of us are delicious, JJ.
They just go for the diabetics because the sugar content is much higher.
Oh, this one's sweet. Come here, get this one.
Yeah, I don't buy into any of that fear stuff. So
yeah. And the thing with fear, and one of my favorite old acronyms is fear is false evidence appearing real, and we find that a lot in this, and it's not unusual. I mean, if you even look back to the War of the Worlds, I mean, there were people committing suicide over a radio show because they got themselves so worked up, and in the unknown, there is much fear and confusion. But that's why we feel as though this show and events like UFO Megacon can let out some information. And even if you take it in small bites and make yourself more familiar with it, because it's something that's going to be part of our future. And and the more you know about it, I mean, the better the whole thing's going to go.
Well, let's move off of me, and my only regret is that that this is my first time ever using a laptop and a PowerPoint, so it's going to be smoother the next time, and I will get the last video up. That was pretty much my coup de grace, and it just didn't come to fruition. All I had to do is show stills of what I would have been able to show as a film. You cannot download the film from YouTube, even if your buddy is the one that did it. Not so much copyright. You really need the original from his camera to do that, and that's the next step in ironing out those problems.
Yeah, we had a couple technical bugs, but overall the message was there, and it was presented in good spirit.
Right. And I had a lot of people sitting around me that really wanted to hear more about your CE5 experiences, which you touched on. And of course, there's only a limited amount of time, but those were very, very interesting. And, so I hope that you kind of expand upon those a little bit more when, on your next visit up to the podium.
We'll do. Now, who else did you like? We got a break at the top of the hour, but and we got another half hour after that to talk to you if you'd like to join us.
Yeah, sure. Well, how did you like Johnny Enoch?
Well, I didn't see Johnny Enoch.
Oh, gosh.
I got lassoed from time to time to do film clips and then to talk to other presenters kind of behind the scenes for hours at a time. That was my gift to the show, is that I not only had the chance to see what I could see, but to talk to individuals about their own experience and their presentations before they actually put on. So,
right.
My trip was very, very different. I was in the audience half the time and somewhere else most of the other half.
Yeah, I know. I was up and down a lot, but Johnny Enoch really had me riveted to the seat. And he's a very young guy. That he's an author, and he's been on Coast to Coast a few times, and I listened to him on the Jimmy Church radio. But some of the information that he had about ancient Egypt was really over the top, and there are things that he said about Edgar Casey said that they were going to find this Hall of Records under the right paw of the Sphinx. And he showed these photos about there is like this structure around the right paw of the Sphinx. So, somebody's down there.
That makes sense.
Somebody's watching it. But he talked a bit about the Canadian Area 51, but he was mostly talking about Egypt, and I'm trying to remember everything, but I listened to him on the Spaced Out radio show with Dave Scott. I think that was back in, I want to say, last April. It's almost been a year ago. And that's when I originally saw him, but I've met him before because I was doing some photography at Contact in the Desert, and he was out there. And I know that he is from Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, and he was. So he touches a bit on the area that he comes from. But, for your listeners to go and look at some of the photos and maybe follow him on Instagram, because he travels around and he posts a lot of the stuff. And
this is Johnny Enoch.
Enoch, Enoch.
Okay.
He was, his talk was mostly about the ancient civilizations. And there is one that he talked about, gosh, I can't remember the name of it. But, it was like kind of shut down and moved off the pages because they don't want anybody to know about this place.
Okay.
I want to say it's in Turkey.
Okay.
And, there's a lot of weird stuff happening in Turkey, with.
Yeah. Well, JJ, we got to go to news break right now,
Okay.
But we would love to have you hang on. You got 6 minutes?
Oh, sure.
And,
Sure.
Okay, everybody, we're on the air with JJ Buckner, and we're talking about the UFO Megacon that we experienced last week. We got to go to break. We got to play some news and some ads. We'll be back in 6 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening in.
WTAN Clearwater,
FM 106.1,
WDCF Dade City,
FM 102.3,
WZHR Zephyr Hills,
FM 104.3.
Listen.
Also want to know the length of that audit, how long that was, and which years it applied to.
The college admission scam may be expanding.
Two parents have actually seen an additional money laundering charge added to their case, and the source tells us more arrests could be coming soon as well, including possibly of a student who may have knowingly participated in this scam.
And correspondent Bryn Gingras says actresses Lori Loughlin and Felicity Huffman were among those who appeared in federal court today in Boston as part of the scandal. California entrepreneur Peter Sartorio became the first of the parents charged to agree to plead guilty. Vice President Joe Biden posted a video on Twitter assuring he will not make women feel uncomfortable in future encounters.
I've never thought of politics as cold and antiseptic. I've always thought it about connecting with people. As I said, shaking hands, hands on the shoulder, a hug, encouragement. And now it's all about taking selfies together.
Biden responded to accusations that he inappropriately touched women over the years. President Trump called it an isolated incident in reacting to the arrest of a woman with 2 Chinese passports and malware on an electronic device at his Mar-a-Lago estate over the weekend.
I think it's just a fluke.
Senate Democrats want the FBI to investigate. The New York Times reports some of special counsel's investigators believe the findings in Robert Mueller's Russia report are more troubling for President Trump than Attorney General William Barr has indicated. I'm Barbara Cusack.
At Indeed, we believe a resume is a great way to see an overview of a candidate, but you're not hiring a resume, you're hiring a person. That's why we offer tools to give you a deeper sense of the people behind the paper, like skill tests, which let you actually see a candidate's abilities in action to make sure they're a good fit for the job. See beyond the resume with Indeed. Increase your visibility to great candidates with the free sponsored job upgrade on your first job posting at Indeed.com/promo. The sponsored job upgrade is a $50 sponsored job credit. Users are charged once the credit is spent or it expires. Terms, conditions, and quality standards apply.
And now, an ad from Dad.
Oh, yeah, just this one line, right? All right, here we go. Save money on car insurance when you... Huh? Oh, it's not? I thought that was the mic. This is the mic here. Okay. Save money on car insurance when you bundle home and auto with Progressive. Is that too close? Sorry. Well, I don't know where to stand. Nobody's told me where to stand.
Progressive can't save you from becoming your parents, but we can save you money when you bundle home and auto. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
Hey, did you know there's a live psychology talk show Thursday and Friday at noon where you can call in and get free guidance and also learn several different topics relating to ending the stigma of mental health? It's called Moments of Clarity on WTAN 1340 AM. It's with licensed therapist Tiffany Warner, who will try to end the stigma of mental health. But the only way you can do that is to listen to Moments of Clarity Thursday and Friday at noon on WTAN 1340 AM, the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Hey, Bay Area, this is Bad Craig, host of WTN's newest talk show, Smoke Cigars, Tampa's only true lifestyle show. With me and my sidekick, Mr. Producer, we will feature many of the local Tampa Bay cigar shops. We'll keep you updated on cigar-related news, cigar tips, and trends. We'll also talk to some of the biggest names in the cigar industry. All this and so much more. So sit back, grab your favorite smoke, and enjoy. Right here on Smoke Cigars, Saturday at 11 a.m. right here on WTN Radio Network.
Hi, everybody. This is Jerry Verasano, the voice. Join the Pinhead, Rob Wiles, and I beginning March 29, every Friday from 5 to 6 p.m. during drive time. Join us for Voice of the Pinhead Show right here on Tan Talk Radio. Relax, enjoy, start the weekend out right. Get away from all your stress and troubles. Have fun, laugh, smile. Join us starting March 29 right here on Tan Talk Radio.
Sports fans, get all the latest Florida sports gear at TampaBaySports.com. Your new online store to get Bucks, Rays, Lightning, Bulls, Gators, and Seminoles merchandise. Get jerseys, hats, t-shirts, and so much more at TampaBaySports.com. Show your true colors and represent all your favorite Florida sports teams. Shop online easily and conveniently at TampaBaySports.com.
Are you looking for a job? Join me, Gene Hodge, on the Employment Opportunity Hour, Thursdays from 7 to 8 p.m., where I will tell you and share with you, as well as answer all of your questions and help you find enjoyable employment instead of a job. This is the only talk show that talks about everyone who makes up our workforce. Join me on the Employment Opportunity Hour every Thursday from 7 to 8 p.m. on the Employment Opportunity Hour.
Hi, this is Tim Del Toro. And I'm Lou Angelwolf, and we are the Grease Gurus. Our show is broadcast every Saturday morning live at WTAN 10 Talk Radio 1340. That's 10 o'clock every Saturday morning for an automotive forum that is flavored with humor and insight. We encourage you to call in and be part of the Grease Gurus show. We'd love to have you, and we will certainly help you find your inner grease. This show is sponsored by Tim's Performance Service Center and beautiful Tarpon Springs at 906 Verona Place, and you can reach us personally at 727-543-1601.
Aha. Don't turn it off now. You need this stuff. Tampa Bay's 10 Talk Radio Network.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the imho.love show. I'm Lou Angelwolf, my co-host Michael Murburg, and we're reviewing our big adventure of last week, going out to the UFO Megacon conference in Laughlin, Nevada. And we have been chatting for the first half with our new friend JJ Buckner, who was the photographer for the event, and has some very, very interesting insights on the speakers. And we're trying to post links as we go through these conversations so you can see who we're talking about. And I'm telling you, folks, if you just open up your mind just a little bit, if you're new to this mental format, please just loosen up the screws a little bit, let it rattle a little bit, and you will find some absolutely amazing information that when you let it, it'll let you grow, and you'll feel better about yourself and life.
Yeah. So, Lou, I'd like to ask JJ. JJ, what did you think of Joe Burke's talk, Dr. Joseph Burke's?
Well, I do believe that he had a chapter in the book that Free put out. Now, Free is the Dr. Edgar Mitchell Foundation for Research into Extraterrestrial and Extraordinary Encounters. Mm-hmm. And, of course, Dr. Edgar Mitchell was a Apollo 14 astronaut, and he passed away a few years ago. And we were very lucky to have all of the Free people there. There's Dr. Rudy Shield, and Ray Hernandez, who kicked off the UFO Megacon, and Mary Rodwell, who is also a co-founder. And so I think Dr. Burks was really, I felt bad that his time was cut short a little bit because of a previous speaker went over time. But they did have, he did touch a lot on what he was writing about. Now, what they did for this book called Beyond UFOs, they went out and did this huge survey of experiencers that was 32 pages long. They gave me one of these surveys. I took one look at it and said, oh gosh, yeah, I'm an experiencer, but this is way too much work for me. So I really appreciate the people that actually filled out this information, because they were able to have a nice cross-section of what the experiencers are doing, which Ray Hernandez touched on, also Dr. Burks, Mary Rodwell, of course, and Dr. Rudy Shield also talked about that. So, when you're talking about the contact modalities and you're trying to understand this mystery called consciousness, this is really a good cross-section so that we can look at what our reality is and try to figure out where we are going to go from here. So I really appreciate all of their work. And what did you think of Dr. Burks?
Well, I got a chance to talk to Joe before he went on, the day before he went on. Then we had to leave. We were only there for 3 days. I had a case I had to try on coming in on a Wednesday. So I couldn't see Joe's presentation, but what he told me he was going to talk about and the things that are in his book, I don't know when it'll be published, but I'm waiting with bated breath to see what it is, because he has been involved with this movement and the Consciousness Underground since it really, began. And his insight and the depth of his insight into what's going on with the dramatis personae here, the who's who, the Greers, everybody from day one. Right. He knows. I mean, his insight's phenomenal, and he's a prolific and wonderful writer as well. So that's why, actually, JJ, that's why you're here, because Lou and I had to leave early, and we had no idea what was going on with the other ones. And I want to hear about, especially about the Danny Sheehan lecture. I heard that was a mind blower.
Oh yeah, but one thing about Dr. Joseph Burks that I did want to mention is that he talked about cases of medical healing during UFO contact. And yes. I just felt those were very fascinating. And so I am looking forward to his book also. But he does mention it again in that the book Beyond UFOs. So, I mean, it's a big book. But, I've been reading it since I've been home. And it just covers so much. Now, Danny Sheehan has been a friend of mine for years and years. And so when he called out certain people in the UFO community as liars, I immediately was looking for the rewind button, thinking, oh my gosh, did he really call Laura Eisenhower a liar up there? Yes, he certainly did. Corey Good and David Wilcox and gosh, who else was the other one? But these are the people that are
Tom
really
DeLonge,
muddy.
I think, was the scoundrel you're looking for.
Yeah, there you go. Yes, and Tom DeLonge, and these are the people that are really muddying the waters for true disclosure, because they're just making shit up. They're just making stuff up, right? And putting it across. And I've known Laura for many years. Also, I like her. I think she's a nice person, but I think that she's completely off her nut. And she says that she's been to Mars and part of this child secret space program for children where they disassociate them from their families. But she's so connected to her great-grandfather, which was President Eisenhower. But at some point, I don't know about you, but I don't know that much about my great-grandfather other than what his name was. And
he wasn't president. Well,
right.
There wasn't nearly as much written about your grandfather or mine.
But still, yeah, you're right. The contact was not there. I didn't even know my grandfather, much less my great-grandfather.
Yeah, I have a hard time. I mean, I try to keep an open mind. The first time I heard Corey Good speak, he came to Sedona, and I was surprised that he didn't know anything about Sedona. And he says that he worked for this pharmaceutical company. Well, that's the same pharmaceutical company that built the Chapel of the Red Rocks here in Sedona. I mean, you walk into their office and there's a huge mural of the Chapel of the Red Rocks. I've been to their headquarters. And so when I asked him about it, and he didn't, he was just so being adulated by all of the people who think that he's telling the truth. but I just talked to somebody that's in Boulder this morning and heard that, this is a rumor, folks, but she heard that Gaia is starting a case against Corey Good. And, the same as Patty Greer, Gaia is just decided that they're not going to put up with this constant badgering and berating of the information, because they're just trying to put out information too, and they're a company like any others that is trying to make money. And I think that Gaia is doing a pretty good job of waking people up, and there's been some really wonderful programs on Gaia. But they used LARP. Do you know what a LARP is?
No,
I had to be told what a LARP is. It's called a live action replay player. So they have somebody like Corey Good as a LARP. He's an actor. He's telling a truth from somebody else, not himself, but he's acting like it's him.
Wow.
And so the live action player, the LARPs, are pretty prevalent, I guess, in Gaia. And, and of course, David Wilcox, we've seen him go under the gun several times because, he basically took all of Cliff High's information from his web bots and said, "Oh, this is my information. This is, this is my secret person that has given me all of this information." And Cliff High said that he had to stop putting out his web bots because, his information and his data was getting tainted by David Wilcox.
Yeah.
So, it's just that group of people, and also Tom DeLonge, this To the Stars Academy. Of course, a lot of us kind of, when they came out and said that they were going to do this program, a lot of us were very skeptical. And Melinda Leslie is one. Melinda has, since this has come out, she's become really good friends with Jim Semivan, which is on the To the Stars Academy Board of Directors. And she has related a lot of information. And basically, Semivan is connected to the Pentagon, and we're not going to get any information that the Pentagon doesn't want us to have, which is why this Tic Tac video is so important. And it's like, that what...
Are you talking about the Navy Tic Tac video from 2004?
Yeah. Did you get a chance to see that?
Yeah, I've seen that, but the thing is that was like a minute and a half long blurb, but the filming was actually 10 or 11 minutes long. So they're not letting us see the entire film. They're just giving a little tidbit, and they're holding the rest back, and we kind of know it.
Right, but they're letting Gary Voorhees, who was there, speak about it, and he saw all 10 minutes. And another one of the Nimitz guys, oh gosh, I can't remember which one it said, but one of the other guys also said that they watched all 10 minutes. And so, I believe that this could be the big break that the UFO community has been looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Did you happen to catch L.A. Marzulli?
Yes,
excellent.
He was awesome. What a great guy.
Yeah, what a great guy. I mean, I totally am a fan. I had fan eyes on him, and I actually had dinner with him one night, and so we talked at length about some of the prophecies, and I know that he can come off as a really Bible thumping Christian, but he also is really into the prophecies and tying things together. And, he showed that clip about Jimmy Kimmel showing the Tic Tac video on TV. And, when I saw that on his presentation, I was like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. So, of course, I had to go and look it up. And yes, it was a disclosure of to a certain point.
Well,
you think so?
Yeah, and it's a very convincing reel. And the thing that I'm noticing is there's a lot of people looking for this official government disclosure. The government has to put their little seal of kiss, their little stamp of approval on this information. Right. But the reality of it is what we're actually dealing with is so much bigger than the American government. This is a global, universsul, multiversal, interdimensional,
mind-boggling
revelation. And when our friends come to reveal themselves, they're not going to need permission from the Pentagon or anything else.
What it reminds me of? It's like every day I manage to go a little bit over the speed limit,
Okay.
I mean, I guess most of us do.
Sure.
Either by negligence or just sometimes you got to get somewhere a little bit faster.
Yeah.
But I don't need a cop giving me a ticket to tell me that I'm driving over the speed limit. That's like waiting for government disclosure.
Right. Well, that's
right. And we had the Project Blue Book guy there, which I also think is that like Steve Bassett calls the drip, drip, drip of disclosure happening. We have, right on television, real stories taken out of Jalen Hynek's case files.
Yes.
That they've done with quite a bit of liberty, like he says, is that we they're trying to make it entertaining for folks, but at the very end, they have, about a minute where they actually talk about the real case. And years ago, I was the ghostwriter for Ann Eller in her book called Dragon in the Sky. And I can say that without remorse because she never paid me. Oh. But Ann Eller was Jalen Hynek's last secretary. Ah. And when I moved to Sedona, I move in and I find out that my next door neighbors, Brian Myers and Tina Choate, were the people that worked for Kufos that brought Jalen Hynek from Chicago to Phoenix back in the day. So I had, I've been immersed in Jalen Hynek for many years. Plus my mom was really into UFOs back as she saw a UFO in 1949 at Mount Shasta. And so all my life I grew up talking about UFOs and going to conferences. I've been to Giant Rock with George Van Tassel and and up in the mountains with George Adamski. And so I know, as a lifelong, not only contactee, but being exposed to this as a child, that the world will only go as far as our world government will let us go.
Sure. Now, JJ, you mentioned Adamski. Did you actually meet him?
I did. I did.
And what was your take on that whole scenario?
Well, I was a little kid.
Uh-huh.
So
even better.
For Adamski, for me, it was mostly George Van Tassel, because I was there in the house that was under Giant Rock playing Barbies with Van Tassel's three daughters when I was a little kid. And then later on in my life, I was involved with the group that split the rock. So we went out there and had a ritual. I fortunately wasn't able to stay for the entire event, so I wasn't there the day that the rock split, but I was there within hours after it split.
Wow.
So,
Yeah, the classic thing that happened to Adamski was he had multi sightings, multi contacts, incredible information. And then at the end, as it started to become more legible and believable, and of course they whipped the whole pedophile thing on the guy and they demonize him. And
exactly, they did the same thing to Wendell Stevens. They did the same thing to Stan Romanek. It's that's their play.
Yeah, and
and they also debunked Van Tassel by having somebody give him false photos and of something that he had described. And back then, there was no what do you call it? Photoshop.
Right.
So when somebody came up with this photo, he goes, "Oh my gosh, where'd you get this photo? This is exactly what we're seeing." And then of course the guy said, "Yeah, I faked this, and he got it from the government, and they faked it." He says, "Yeah, this is a fake, and you're a fake because you said that this was real," and that kind of put the kibosh on it. But I was, I watched as they built the Integratron, and I have been out there several times. I do know that, the band U2, they recorded a lot of their songs on the CD called Joshua Tree under the dome of the Integratron.
Wow.
And they do talk about them having UFO contact. And Grant Cameron has put together this wonderful list of musicians that have been inspired by their UFO sightings, including, John Lennon and the guys from, oh gosh, I want to say Night White Satin. What are those guys?
Yeah, Moody Blues.
The Moody Blues.
Moody Blues.
Yes.
Yes. And, so I think that he is either working on a book or he has, but I've heard his lecture, and, it's really quite compelling about these big names, including Tom DeLonge.
Right.
And say that they've had some sort of
Blink 182. Yeah.
Right.
Well, JJ, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you. We got about 2.5 minutes left. Now, you covered the UFO Megacon through the photographic arts, and we thank you so much for that. And from what I understand, they're already preparing for 2020.
Yes, they are. And I really hope that you put together a proposal and see if you can come back and do some more about your research and on consciousness. At least get on a panel and join us again. It's going to be, next year is going to be even bigger and even better.
Yes.
And I'm really looking forward to it.
Yes. Well, JJ, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your input and the knowledge that you are sharing with us. And, feel free to contact us anytime. We'd love to have you back on. If there's a hot topic that you want to share, we're very interested in your point of view. And thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking to you, and I'm flattered that you called me and let me join in on the conversation.
You got it.
It was wonderful. Thank you, JJ.
Okay, Mike, you take care.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to the imho.love show. I'm Lou Angelwolf. That's Michael Murburg over there. And our guest this evening has been JJ Buckner, an experiencer, a contactee. And
photographer to the stars.
And a photographer. She got some great shots of you, I bet. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're on the air every Wednesday night at 7:30 Eastern time. Join us here at Tan Talk 1340. And of all the various avenues that you can see the show, Kathy, like I said, is recording these They're going out to BitChute, so they're almost like a permanent file. So you'll be able to research this information. We put some links up during the show to familiarize yourself with Danny Sheehan, this Johnny Enoch. He sounds very intriguing. And
Joe Burks, Grant Cameron, Melinda Leslie, Jim Semivan, Gary Voris. I mean, she talked about them all. I mean, goodness, what a panoply of contact information she has.
Absolutely.
Not to mention Ray Hernandez and Mary Rodwell and
of course
Dr. Rudy Schultz.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. I'm Lou Angelwolf. That's Michael Murburg. We're saying good night for tonight. We'll be back next Wednesday night at 7:30 for the imho.love show, and it's in my humble opinion.
Give me forever. Don't even think about saying goodbye, 'cause I just want one love to be enough and remain in my heart till I die. So there's just a little more that I need. I wanna share all the air that you breathe. I'm not the kind of girl to complicate the past. I want love that lasts forever.